Folks, we got a little bit of breaking news coming out of Virginia Tech as their 133-pounder Dillon Campbell, redshirt freshman, is out for the season due to a injury. So he will be, I think, applying for a medical redshirt. I don't know if he'll get it. He wrestled at, I think, maybe close to half of their events. But you might be asking, okay, why is this relevant? You know, people get injured and their seasons end all the time. There's implications to what the landscape at 133 pounds looks like. And that's relevant because 133 is one of the craziest weights that I've seen in recent history. And so for it to go from where it is to even a little bit more insane, I think is pretty crazy. Now, Dillon Campbell, he was solid. He was ranked near the top 10 at his highest and really looked like he was going to be a solid option for Virginia Tech. And he would have been. He had very close matches with guys like Lucas Bird and Kyler Larkin, who are obviously ranked within the top 10. And you know, I think he was 17-5 on the season, had a very solid resume, and overall just looked like a guy who was going to be a great option for Virginia Tech, somebody who you could see finding a way onto the podium if, you know, he wrestled his matches the right way at NCAAs. So that's a tough loss for Virginia Tech, but it introduces the element of a true freshman at 133 pounds for Virginia Tech coming into the lineup and entering the fray at a ridiculous weight class. And so who is that? It is Aaron Seidel. Now, if you don't know who this is, he was a 3-time Pennsylvania state champ in high school. He was going for his 4th, and who did he run into in the finals? It was Jax Forrest. He was losing 4-1 at the very end, went for a junk throw and gave up a takedown. So he lost 7-1, but it, you know, basically was a 1-score match all the way up until that. So very close match with Jax Forrest. If you look at his wrestle stat this year, he's 8-0 against D1 competition, 11-0 overall, and every single match is either a pin or a tech fall. So he's smashing his competition. And it's not exactly slouches either. There's 2 particular matchups where he has come out on top and looked great that I want to kind of hone in on. Now, an element to the way Aaron Seidel wrestles is he's very dangerous on top. Very, very proficient, very good. Not a guy where you kind of I don't like a Seth Gross necessarily. He's not like that, but he's very clean with his tilts. So maybe a little bit more like a Spencer Lee. Now, the two matches here. The Cuban that's at Iowa State right now, Ranieri Ortega, who's not officially a D1 wrestler because he's old. They were wrestling at Midlands. And Sidell managed to, after giving up a takedown, I think he got a takedown of his own, or he started on top. He got a tilt, and then he pinned him at a tilt. So again, very good at tilting. That is notable because that same Ortega wrestled Jax Forrest, and I think it was a 4-0 match result. Now, Ortega beat Sidell on his feet, and Jax Forrest beat Ortega on his feet. So you can kind of weigh out where things are better or worse for some people. But that shows you Sidell's a real element here. He's a real force. Now, there is another one here, and that is against Isaiah Cortez. If you don't know who that is, he's gray shirting right now. He'll be in the lineup for Cornell next year. Isaiah Cortez earlier this year wrestled Ben DeVino, and it was at the Clarion Open, and it was a 4-1 win for Ben DeVino in sudden victory. Now, Isaiah Cortez wrestles Aaron Seidel later on in the year, back on January 9th, so not too long ago, and Sidell techs him 15-0, so gets on top and just runs the scoreboard up. So, Ben DeVino, close match with Cortez. Cortez wrestles Sidell, gets blown out of the water. Ortega wrestles Jax Forrest, close match, wrestles Sidell, gets pinned. I think this is starting to come together a little bit. Now, if you're wondering when are we going to see Aaron Seidel actually get a real test, it's Virginia Tech. They're in the ACC. They don't have too many major matchups. Well, tomorrow, the 23rd, they're wrestling Stanford. Stanford's 133-pounder is returning All-American Tyler Knox. Awesome first test. He'll wrestle Zach Redding from NC State on January 30th. And then they continue about their ACC schedule. They'll wrestle North Carolina. Ethan Oakley, also a solid test. Somebody that he should be able to handily beat. But then, on February 15th, Virginia Tech wrestles Oklahoma State. So you see what's going to happen here. It's a rematch of the Pennsylvania State Finals from last year. It's Jax Forrest versus Aaron Seidel. That is when we'll know, what are these two guys made of? If Jax Forrest is going to be the guy. I expect Aaron Seidel to start regardless at this point. But this will tell us, what do these two look like against each other, and what do they look like amongst most of the rest of the field? So, big news. I think it's something to keep an eye on, and it just adds more juice, more power to this weight class. Somebody really, really talented, a lot of people who are really, really talented at this weight are going to be left off the podium, which sucks, but sometimes that's the nature of the sport, right? So let me know what you think about this. Kind of a crazy revelation, kind of a crazy thing to have happened, to have Jax Forrest and Aaron Seidel enter the fray of a weight class that was tough to crazy tough. So yeah, that's it.